Let me ask you something. You ever poured everything into a girl? Your time, your attention, your energy, and she treated it like it was nothing? Like you were just there? Like your presence was a given and your feelings were background noise? And then the moment you finally got tired, the moment you stopped reaching out, stopped checking in, stopped making yourself available, suddenly she noticed you. Suddenly she's texting. Suddenly she wants to talk. Suddenly you matter. Bro, that's not coincidence. That's psychology. Walking away is one of the most powerful moves a man can make. Not because it's a game, not because you're trying to manipulate anyone, but because it triggers something deep inside a woman's psychology that no amount of chasing, texting, or proving yourself ever could. Today, I'm breaking down the 7 real reasons why walking away hits her ego harder than anything else you could do. And by the end of this, you're going to understand why the most powerful position you can be in is the one where you're genuinely ready to leave. Let's get into it. Number 1, it destroys the narrative she had about you. Here's something women do that most guys never realize. When a girl has a guy who's always available, always reaching out, always showing up, she builds a narrative in her head. The narrative is simple. He needs me more than I need him. He'll always be there. I can take my time deciding how I feel. That narrative gives her comfort. It gives her control. And as long as you keep showing up on demand, that narrative stays intact. The moment you walk away, that narrative collapses. Suddenly the story she told herself doesn't match reality anymore. And that gap between what she expected and what actually happened, that's where the ego hit lives. She didn't see it coming, and that's exactly why it lands so hard. Number 2, it triggers her fear of losing something she took for granted. Human psychology has a brutal flaw. We don't appreciate what we have until it's gone, or until it looks like it might be gone. This isn't specific to women, it's just how people work. But in the context of attraction, it plays out in a very specific way. When you're always there, your presence has no scarcity. It's unlimited. Number 4, it shows her you have standards, and that breaks something in her. Most guys, when they feel a girl pulling away, lower their standards to keep her around. They become more accommodating, more flexible, more willing to accept scraps of attention because at least it's something. Women notice this, and while they might not consciously think about it, they lose respect every single time it happens. Because a man without standards communicates one thing loud and clear: I don't believe I deserve better than this. When you walk away, you communicate the opposite. You communicate that your time has value, that your attention isn't free, that you have a standard for how you expect to be treated, and she didn't meet it. That hits the ego because most women are not used to a man actually enforcing that. Most guys talk about self-respect. You just demonstrated it. And there is nothing more quietly powerful than a man who means what he says. Number 5, it makes her question her own value for the first time. This is the deep one. Pay attention. When a girl has your consistent attention and then suddenly loses it, she doesn't just miss you. She starts questioning herself. Why did he stop? Did I do something? Was I not enough to make him stay? Now, I'm not saying that's the goal, to make her feel bad about herself. That's not the point. But what walking away does is shift the dynamic completely. Before, you were the one questioning your value. Am I good enough? Does she like me? Am I doing something wrong? The moment you leave, that question transfers. Now she's holding it. And for a girl who's used to men staying regardless of how she behaves, that feeling is completely foreign. And foreign feelings demand attention. Her ego was built on the assumption that you'd always be there. Walking away chips away at that assumption and makes her reckon with something real. Number 6, it reveals whether the attraction was ever real, and that truth is powerful. Here's something most guys are afraid to find out. They'd rather stay in the uncertainty, keep chasing, keep hoping, than actually get a clear answer, because the clear answer might not be what they want. But here's the thing, bro. Walking away is the only real test of where you actually stand. Because as long as you're chasing, her response to you is just a response to your effort. The moment you stop, what's left is what's real. If she reaches out, re-engages, shows up differently, that's genuine interest surfacing. If she disappears completely, that's your answer too. And that answer, as painful as it might be, is worth months of confusion and false hope. Walking away doesn't just affect her ego, it gives you clarity. And clarity is one of the most underrated forms of power a man can have. Number 7, and this is the one that hits deepest. It shows her a man she didn't know existed. This is the final one. And this is the one that genuinely breaks through. See, the version of you that was chasing, over-texting, over-explaining, always available, that version she had figured out. She knew how that guy operated.
She knew he'd always come back. She knew exactly how much she could give and still keep him around. But the version of you that walks away calmly, without drama, without a big speech, without needing the last word, that version she's never seen before. And that version is unfamiliar, unpredictable. And suddenly, interesting. She thought she knew you. Walking away proves she didn't. And there is nothing that triggers curiosity in a woman faster than realizing the man she thought was predictable isn't. That's when the ego really takes the hit. Not because you hurt her, but because she realizes she may have miscalculated. She may have underestimated you. And a woman who underestimates a man and then watches him walk away unbothered, that stays with her.